This is basically just daylight stealing.
Reach for growth, reach for more. Performance, marketing, hardcore. Tune in, listen, hear the more. Reach for growth.
Hello and welcome to a new episode of Reach for Growth. Our podcast is all about inspiring and empowering performance and digital marketeers by bridging the gap between technical experience and personal authenticity. Ahmed, welcome aboard.
Thank you, Mohammed. Pleasure to be here, and what a cool setup to have for your podcast. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a new setup, and we're testing out here.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't get the memo. But,
It's orange.
yeah, stealth mode today.
Yeah. So, congratulations on your MBA journey.
Thank you so much.
How was it?
It was rewarding. It was humbling. It was challenging. I didn't expect it to be that challenging upon embarking on that journey. But here we go. Now it's behind us with a lot of experience, a lot of findings, a lot of learnings that I hopefully can imply and can put into action when it comes to my actual experience or my actual work experience. But yeah, it was one of the most humbling experiences in my life.
Perfect. And for everyone who's listening to us, if you can just give them a summary of your work experience.
Yeah, sure. So, you gave a very good brief. My name is Ahmed. I work in performance marketing or marketing in general. I started my marketing journey by joining a Google online challenge. It's called Google Online Marketing Challenge, GOMC. I don't think they are doing it anymore, but back in the day, the whole idea started by, if you're a student in any part of the world, you can participate in this challenge. Google would give you $250, I think, back at the time. And you would partner with a local business in your city, in your area. And you basically create a marketing campaign for them it was Google's way, basically, in like encouraging local businesses to, get into digital marketing. That was like 2014, I think, or 2000.
Wow.
No, actually, wait. It was even before that.
2012?
2015. 2005. I don't remember. Like it was in that time frame. I studied computer science. So that was my intro to digital marketing or performance marketing specifically. And I remember when I participated twice with my team. And the second time we were a business semi-finalist. This means that our campaign was one of the top 40 according to the judging criteria that we don't really know up until now. And yeah, ever since then, I was hooked. I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And from there, they invited us, Google, at the time. I'm originally from Egypt, as you know. They invited us to what I can call an ad camp or a boot camp for digital advertising. The whole idea of this training is to get you certified in Google Ads and Google Analytics. And they invited an agency as a case study or like a partner agency for Google Egypt at the time. And I was like, I want to work with these guys because I was so impressed seeing what I thought is a hobby, to be quite honest, being put to work and actually achieve business goals for like local businesses that I know and love in Egypt. So the agency at the time was called Techno Wireless. And they worked with a lot of like local businesses, big brands in Egypt. So they used to work with Egypt Air. Egypt Air is like the biggest or like the only airline in Egypt. Orange, at the time, Mobinil, the biggest telecom company. So I was like, this is so cool. I have to, stoke these guys, get connected to them, and hopefully, find any vacancy until I can finish my degree and actually join them full time. And that actually what happened. So they were hiring for a social media moderator. Basically, my day to day was just opening client Facebook pages, Twitter, Instagram, and reply to inquiries. At the time, it was Egypt Air. And again, that was like my first step. Again, the idea here, like for me, it's completely different than what I actually wanted to do. I wanted to join their performance team or like their media team. But you know what? I was like, you know what? I want to join that company. I just want to get in. And from there, we can take it step by step. So yeah, that's my start. And then I joined them full time as an analyst after finishing my degree, and quickly, became an account manager. I left them while I was basically the key account manager for Egypt Air. So I started the ladder from being a moderator, which is on the account within the agency. This is like the most junior role, all the way until the key account manager, the person who actually tell everyone what to do in the agency team, manages the client budget, attend meetings with the client. So yeah, that's how it started. And then I joined the army.
So, okay, just before joining the army, so it's very impressive. You stayed there for how many years?
I think I stayed there for almost 3 years.
2 or 3 years.
Because I basically joined them while I was studying. And then I became an analyst in my second year. And then upon being full-timer, I became an account manager. So,
okay. So I just imagining that you were in your second year of university. You didn't care a lot about the university. You were just spending your time working on your full-time job. Okay. And for people, maybe they don't understand how challenging is the jump from content creator to an analyst to a key account manager. Because for agency, like content or someone to moderate the pages, this is like the absolute starting point.
Yeah.
It requires no skills, just than some customer service skills. You just know how to reply, and that's it. But how challenging was it, and how were you able to pull it off, to reach there?
Again, it starts with the goal. Like, what is your end goal? For me, the path was extremely clear. The path was, I have to do this now in order to get in, build a reputation within the team, build a reputation within even the client. Yes, it's a very junior role, but at the same time, it has extremely dangerous responsibility by the end of the day, because you talk on behalf of the client, and the client was at the time a big airline that has a huge reputation. So it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was something that I didn't want to do. It was an experience. By the end of the day, I learned a lot, which is something that I didn't expect upon taking this role. But I would say, if you have a goal, and that end goal, you will be able potentially to carve your way to reach that goal. The whole idea is to, not sit idle, not dwell where you are from a career path standpoint, from an experience standpoint, and then the rest will follow. I hope so.
Yeah. But the thing is, right now, especially with social media, TikTok, and the low attention span, people, they just don't have the patience to craft a career, or to try to plan 3 steps ahead that can require 3-4 years in order to reach the results. I guess social media right now is trying to paint this picture that if you are smart and you are well educated, you will just land the job from day one. And if you couldn't, you just give it up and you join something else. So I guess in your story, it shows very clearly the value of resilience, that you have a goal in mind, but also you have the patience, that you understand it will require time, building key skills that maybe you didn't know that those skills are important before going through your journey.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I mean, there's always a case of like quick success. But by the end of the day, if you really want to do this for the long term, any career, it doesn't have to be marketing by the end of the day. Any career, if you're in it for the long run, you will have to put the time. I mean, we can all agree on this. By the end of the day, a lot of people would you know, belittle the experience, belittle the amount of time, the years of experience that you have, especially like you mentioned in today's day and age. And all powers to you if that's the case. You know, if you're able to make a quick success, that's amazing. But the most, I would say, the most guaranteed way of succeeding, if you want to actually build a career for yourself in any industry, in any specialization, is to put the time.
Yeah, you have to build a foundation that can take years in order building it, but this foundation will help you build a very long career journey. 100%. So now, from your agency time, you have to join the army. What happened after the army?
After the army, I joined Jumia, and I had the pleasant experience of meeting you at Jumia, actually. So Jumia, for those who don't know, is the biggest marketplace in Africa. I remember I joined like a month after you joined.
Yeah.
And we were working from a temp office. I don't know if you remember. It was a car showroom, actually. And yeah, it was one of the best experiences in my life,
True.
career-wise. Just seeing a company grow from nothing, literally nothing, and the environment in which this company started. They were operating in like 12 different African markets, no infrastructure whatsoever, no supply chain, no warehouses in these markets. It was a tough feat working in Jumia. And the scale of things at Jumia actually changed my thinking in terms of like performance marketing, because I always thought performance marketing teams needs to be the centralized, center of excellence that, as some people would say. But I remember the number of people in the performance marketing team in Jumia. It was 30 or 40 people. It was a huge number between channel managers, specialized people in search, paid social, SEO, channel managers managing all these people, and then like directors on top of these. Like, it was a huge layer for such a small company at the time. Obviously, as you know, Jumia later became a unicorn, became the first African company to be listed in the New York Stock Exchange. And yeah, it was a huge moment of pride, seeing your work, celebrated in such a way, seeing your numbers being highlighted as a reason why the stock price of the company is this high or this low. I don't know. I don't follow Jumia stock price now, but it was one of the best experiences in my life, that's for sure. And I made a lot of friends there. I made a lot of memories and experiences, because yes, we were based in Egypt, but we also got the chance to travel around and go to places that I personally never imagined I will be going to. So yeah, it was extremely nice. After that, I moved to Dubai. I joined Nemshi. I joined them as a performance marketing manager. Again, it's all performance marketing all the way to Tommy Hilfiger. And yeah, Nemshi was a transition point or a pivot point in a way, because also, okay, you made it in your home country, you made it in an agency, you made it in a small setup, not really small now that you look at it, but small setup in like in Jumia. Can you make it in a different market? So that was the challenge for me. Obviously, without dwelling into like the reasons why, into the relocation decision, but I'm happy that I took this decision, because at the time, most of the advices were like, don't go there. You have something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like how?
I don't know. Family, family pressure. Don't go live somewhere else. You're never gonna get a visa. Blah blah blah. All that stuff that you know. But yeah, I'm happy that I moved to Dubai. And if I go back in time and like evaluate all my decisions, my life decisions, this is by far the best life decision that I've made, moving to Dubai. Namshi, the experience was quite short. It was almost a year and a half. But also at the same time, I got to learn how I can employ, sorry, let's
It's okay.
do
It's
this.
okay.
I learned how to apply the same strategies, the same experience that I got with Jumia into fast fashion, or we usually call Namshi a pure player in terms of in terms of fashion, online fashion retail. Dealing with different brands, dealing with buying teams. That was the part that I was not really doing in Jumia. So in a way, yes, the scope was pretty much the same, performance marketing, but the experience and cross-functional collaboration with different teams, different people, third-party, even partners, the kind of support that you're getting from Google, Facebook, all these partners is not the same like Jumia, for example. And after that, I joined apparel group. So that was, again, another short experience. I stayed there for a year. And the target was to launch Tommy.com in the GCC region. It was pretty much done. It was pretty much launched, but actually establish it as an actual e-commerce business, and to do so alone, and to do so working with brick and mortar people or brick and mortar resources. So your buyer is pretty much buying the merchandise for both stores and the website.
Yeah, with zero knowledge when it comes to digital marketing,
Absolutely
how
nothing.
it works.
Yeah, everything was
Yeah.
new. No setup, no resources, no team. So that was basically the challenge that we got from PVH at the time. PVH is the brand owner, or the brand under which comes Tommy Hilfiger and Calvin Klein. And it was extremely challenging, but we made it work. And then I joined Property Finder. Currently, I'm head of paid media. I joined Property Finder in March 2022. And I'm staying there up until now. So
Very good.
and I love it there. It's also like a completely different set of challenges, completely different setup, completely different mindset. I'm sure you're gonna dwell in that and dig
because
deeper.
honestly, it's a big jump, not only because it's the higher position and higher responsibility, but mainly because doing performance marketing for e-com business is totally different than doing performance marketing for lead gen business.
Yeah.
The way that you set up your campaign, the way that you structure your campaigns, it's totally different. So how was your journey there?
That was an extremely difficult journey, to be quite honest. This kind of change, as you mentioned, even for lead gen business, the setup is different from a developer to a classified website like Property Finder. So even within the industry itself, there are a lot of differences. And obviously, I always try to come back to my e-commerce experience and try to, make things work for a lead gen setup. That was actually, it's not to scrap everything, not to change everything, not to reinvent the wheel, but try to gather or get any kind of, I would say, experiences or insights from your e-com experience or retail experience, and try to apply it to the best of your knowledge, to the best of your abilities, and the best of your support as well that you're getting in a lead gen business. Because I would say for retailers, it's very straightforward, when it comes to performance marketing, you're trying to get people to purchase a product. And if you look at it from a funnel standpoint, it's very clear what is the end goal. The end goal is to get people to transact on your portal, whether it's a website or an app or whatever. For lead gen, it's quite the opposite, because what is really the end goal here? Is it to get people to submit leads? Is it to get people to transact? Is it to get your customers to get commission from these transactions? Because by the end of the day, it's real estate. What is really the end goal? What is the priority? And this is the type of questions that I asked upon joining Property Finder. What is the end goal? And I got different answers.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So for like commercial team, of course, like they don't care about leads. Like, okay, leads are just clicks, right? Especially for us, because leads are not actual data. You know, I don't know if you're using Property Finder or
Yeah, I'm using it.
your listeners are using Property Finder. By the end of the day, if you go open Property Finder and click on a listing and submit a lead, what we call a lead is like a WhatsApp or a phone call. That's a lead. So potentially that's my goal, right? As a
Marketing,
media
yeah,
planner,
yeah.
right? But not really, because the lead is just a click, and you don't know what happened to that lead after that user go to WhatsApp or go on the phone with the agent that listed that property. And you have all type of modern day issues with performance marketing. So who's to say that these leads are actual leads? Who's to say that these leads are not duplicate leads, spam leads? Are they actually people who are interested in that property, actually have the intent? So from there, we start to, ask a lot of questions and try to answer. And these answers are basically what guide your strategy from a performance marketing standpoint.
I guess it's very complicated because the way that you're saying it, a lead is just a click, and no one knows if this lead is an authentic click or just duplicate or spammed, or even if it's an authentic lead, an authentic click, and it happened. What was the experience it received once it spoke to the agent and all of that? And of course, we didn't talk about how this lead, because of course, if he's using Property Finder, he's using other competitors as well.
Yeah,
the
of
same
course.
lead, same property. And also the business, I guess, from merchandising, no, you don't have merchandising, from category team or whatever the business team that you have. Their main goal is actually to drive sales, I think.
Yeah, it's a bit different, because by the end of the day, if you think about it, also we don't get that data because there is no incentive for the customer, Property Finder customer here.
To
We're
give the
talking about
data back
agent.
to Property
Yeah,
Finder.
like why would I give you that data, right? It's like I have no incentive to do so. And let's say if it's positive, I would be more inclined to hide that data from you as a property portal, because
You can
if
give it to
know-
another agent.
Yeah, exactly. If you know that you're doing an extremely good job in driving quality leads, I can raise my prices, right? Or I can, tell you that your subscription is going to be renewed at a higher rate, and all these kinds of data points. It's still a very sensitive industry if you look at it, because there are a lot of people involved. There are a lot of parties involved. There is the agent, there is the developer, there is the secondary market, there is the primary market, there is the property portal, and then there are the consumers who don't care about all of these people. They just want their need to be fulfilled, and their need is either renting or buying a property. So this is something that actually we see, especially in markets like Egypt. People in such markets, they don't really understand that we're just a property portal. So it's like, say you're in Egypt and you see a cool property in Property Finder, and you talk to the agent. You think as a consumer that this agent is a Property Finder agent, and this listing is owned by Property Finder. But in reality, that's not the case. So it's an extremely difficult business model to navigate from a marketing standpoint. And yeah, this is basically the challenges that we have in such an industry, especially for a classified website or a property portal like Property Finder. I would say the top priority for commercial, just to go back to your question, top priority for commercial is to ensure that their customers are happy. And it's very fair, obviously. And this goes back to the volume of leads that their clients are receiving. It goes back to the quality of these leads. It goes back to whether they are happy dealing with Property Finder in general. Are they getting the support that they need? Are they getting the data that they need? Are they competitive in the market compared to other agencies or other, brokerage firms that also work with Property Finder? So that was these would be like the North Star metrics or like the success criteria for a commercial team at Property Finder. For us, again, it keeps changing, and a lot of people tell me like this is insane. Like, well, like every day you're optimizing for something different than the day before. But I would say that's one of the good things actually. And if you're not killing like almost like every year, if you're not killing some of the metrics that you optimized for, then you're doing something wrong. Because it's an ever-changing landscape. So let's say we're working on CPL, or like we only focus on the volume of leads, but some of our clients or customers, they don't really care about the volume. They only care about the quality of such leads or said leads. So yeah, it's an ever-changing landscape, even from our own strategies. We're all about testing. We're all about trying new things at Property Finder. And I'm blessed with having like a very great team that supports me in that regard. And we also have an amazing leadership team as well that gives us the flexibility to go and try new things. That's in a nutshell my current experience when it comes to Property Finder.
Yeah, I guess it's an awesome experience. But just now I want to deep dive more into like key challenges. Like, for example, as someone who's working on the real estate or lead gen business, there is always this everlasting question about, should we invest on branded search or should we leave it to SEO? When to find the right balance between the two? Should we just stop it because anyway people are seeing the SEO ads? And for people who just don't know, think about it. When you search on Google and you see the first result could be a paid ad and could be an organic ad, not an ad. So the question that always comes from the leaders is all about, should I invest on paid while an SEO is happening, or should I stop investing?
That's a slippery slope. So again, it becomes obviously this is a fair question, and I've been asked this question at Nemshi. I think we've been asked this question together at Jumia. Thankfully, we never got asked this question at Property Finder. But the way that I think about it is, think of branded search as your brand equity. It's not really performance marketing if you think about it. It's very straightforward. And yes, I agree. Sometimes in some conditions, SEO would be enough to maintain that kind of brand equity or brand visibility on a Google search engine result page. But what happens when you have an extremely competitive market and your competitors are bidding on your keywords? Then it becomes your responsibility as a marketing leader or a marketing professional in your organization to highlight that and mention that this is basically just daylight stealing, like our competitors are getting the top slot in a search engine result page that we own. Obviously, you will always continue to get the top priority in terms of like brand bidding because it's your trademark. Supposedly, hopefully, if your SEO team is doing their work, you will always get a higher brand authority or domain authority. So your SEO is something, but your brand search is something else because we don't even think about it from a performance marketing standpoint. It's a brand investment. It's not performance marketing. Yeah.
But I guess the bigger question is all about, can I measure the incrementality out of this paid channel? The branded search, it's very obvious to compare it with SEO, but like basically the other question or the second question that's not being asked is, am I really getting benefit out of investing this money, or I'm just going to receive this demand, even though if I didn't invest?
I mean, if you're getting asked this question in your organization, have a data-driven mindset. Put it to the test. Okay, let's pause branded search for a week or two, and see how much our top level, demand metrics are getting affected. It's a very simple test. I mean, if you're really having that kind of conversation in your organization, you can always put it to the test. And I'm not on the camp of professionals that would have a very strong personal conviction about something and say no, we're not gonna do this. Okay, if that's a test that we're willing to do, let's do it. Why not?
And I guess you did it for Namshi, right? Like, I guess you run it for quite some time for Namshi, and I guess the result was quite disappointing.
Yeah. Again, that's the point. Always let the data do the work for you. I mean, it's not about personal opinion or personal conviction, or I have an opinion different than my manager or like the CMO or the CEO or whatever. Always let the data be the driving in the driver's seat in your organization. And this is the type of conversation you should have. It's not about branded search. It's not about SEO. It's not about a specific channel. By the end of the day, it's about the business performance overall. If the business performance is getting affected negatively by such a test, then everyone knows that was a test that we shouldn't really do moving forward. So, yeah.
Okay, but now I want to ask you a question, because I meet a lot of performance marketeers, and I found that some of them, they may think that they are trying to be data-driven, but in fact, they're just following data blindly. What's the difference between the two from your point of view?
I'll give you a very good example. Without mentioning the brand or without mentioning the company. In one of my previous experiences, we were having a lot of issues around maintaining monthly active users on our app. And when we look at the data, everything looks amazing. Onboarding journey looks fine. No crashes whatsoever. Reviews are good. Ratings are, it's okay for an Android application. All the data said that we're amazing. We're
doing a good job.
We're doing a good job. But in reality, that was not the case. So again, it becomes a question of looking at different hypotheses and testing each hypothesis. If the data suggests that, okay, we're getting crashes, or probably our app is not really reliable in terms of user experience or whatever, put it to the test. Again, it becomes a discussion of data. The data is always in the driver's seat. It's not you as a head of marketing or a director of marketing or whatever. And in that specific case, the issue was most of our product images, were loading extremely slow. The lazy loading was not working.
Wow.
And we look at ourselves as a team, marketing, growth, product, engineering, and we look at each other. It was Android app specifically. And we look at each other. We all have iPhones. No one uses Android. And so this issue was never highlighted because the daily driver for everyone in the team is an iPhone phone. So again, test that. And the issue back then became an issue of experience. So obviously, if the experience is not there, you cannot expect any kind of demand metric to grow. So this is an actual real life example of data telling us everything is good. We're doing an amazing job. But in reality, we were doing a horrible job.
Yeah, I guess I can summarize just 3 things out of what you just mentioned. So number 1, if it is too good to be true, it's actually not true. Yeah. So this is the first part. When we always see data showing numbers that's too good to be true, especially in performance marketing, this is not the reality. You should be very anxious and try to investigate more. The second point regarding how we how we understand the data, because at the end of the day, data is just information. It can tell you that something is doing. Again, there is this point of perception, how you perceive data. Data should be an information or a tool that you can use it to improve your decision making. As leaders, we should always try to challenge the data that we have in hand. So, for example, if you have a data point that's telling you that you're doing a good job or a bad job, this should be thought about in a critical context, not on like, okay, that's the reality, because there is no reality when it comes to the data. And third point, yeah, it's very true regarding like the team has to always have all the devices. Like if you're having an app for iOS and Android, you should have both apps, which is also telling us the importance of not relying only on quantitative data, numbers, but also on qualitative data, which are more about the open-ended questions, that trying the experience yourself, asking your customers for reviews with open-ended, not just numbers, not on a scale from
Doing
0 to
test
5.
orders.
Yeah.
It's not just also, again, this is something that we do at Property Finder. Like we believe in like the concept of extreme ownership. Your role doesn't end with your job. So take that and apply it. For example, if you work for a retailer and you're just a performance marketing manager, or you're just heading the performance marketing function, your role doesn't end with the submit or transact button. Have you done? How many test orders have you done? Did you see the packaging? Did you see, did you test the last mile process? Did you do any return orders? It becomes, and this is what I mean by extreme ownership. It's not just about your role. It's about the whole process or the whole, life cycle of this product. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. And by the end of the day, if you're doing that, it's actually going the extra mile if you think about it. Because if everything else is doing extremely well, and there are no single point of failure in the process, it would enable you to do a better job in your own areas of responsibility.
Yeah, it will enable you to grow. So in case of just any one of the listeners just maybe thinking, okay, why should I do more? I just have a job description and I have just to do what's in the job description. In fact, even if you forget about your employer for a second, doing more, like trying to actually have the ownership or have the curiosity about the business, try to understand it. This what will give you the leap that you need in your career. Like to grow, from example, from just a channel manager or a channel lead to become someone who looks over all channels, or to be someone from performance marketing to look over multiple channels. This curiosity is a driver for your own career progress that you are seeking, if you are seeking any career progress at all. So it's always start with the curiosity, and then comes the ownership, and then comes asking the right questions.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so now I want to drive more into like, okay, now if I'm just someone who's just starting and I'm listening to you telling me your journey, so if I'm trying to map it out, so I should stay on, like, how would you advise me? Because I just listened that you stayed for a company year and a half, then stayed. What should be the criteria that guides me as someone who's just starting to navigate my career, to become as a position as you are in right now, as head of paid media?
That's a great question. Again, if you're starting today in such a career, I would say curiosity should be your driver. Because by the end of the day, it's getting fragmented. If you think about it, like there are different channels, there are different functions, and we usually, I remember when I was discussing this with you before, back in the day at Jumia, there is a T and an I kind of career path. So T is you taking one function or one aspect of marketing, for example, let's say performance marketing, and you digging deeper in terms of like knowledge, insights, and experience. So your path is very clear. At a certain point, and this is a realization that I got, you will have to pivot into a T. And by that I mean, okay, now you're doing extremely well when it comes to performance marketing. you're an subject matter expert when it comes to performance marketing. How do you pivot to the next step in your career? And you can never do this, to be quite honest, unless you get exposure to other marketing functions. Like it or hate it, it's something that has to happen in everyone's career if you really want to grow as a marketing professional. So it was something that I had to do as well, delving into like brand, understanding what is a brand, brand architecture type, even looking at this is a page from the MBA book, but looking at what is a brand value, how do you calculate a brand value in a financial sheet, looking at mergers and acquisitions, why any company would go and buy another company. Most often than not, the answer is the brand. So that's what I mean. Like, you will have to gain experience and get exposure to other different functions of marketing to grow, and to become, let's say, if your goal is to become a CMO one day. Yes, you can become a CMO if your background is performance marketing, but think of your potential future employer. Their marketing function is not just about performance marketing, right? They have other aspects of marketing that they really care about. So imagine yourself in an interview process and you're a subject matter expert in performance marketing. And you have other people who, let's call them jack of all trades, right? Believe it or not, these jacks of all trades will have a better chance of getting this job than you, even though you are a subject matter expert in one of the hardest marketing functions out there. And, don't hate the players. By the end of the day, hate the game. And again, it goes back to putting in the time, putting in the effort, and learning something new. So curiosity, whether you're focused on one function, and getting that kind of ownership of your function and ensuring that you're a source of solving problem, not a source of problems. We have this case, and a colleague from Property Finder mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. He was doing a performance review for one of his direct reports, and he mentioned that this specific individual makes you think that you don't even have a problem. He doesn't make you feel that he solves a problem. He makes you feel that you don't even have a problem. So be that kind of person. Ensure that people respect you and adore you as a professional when it comes to your areas of responsibility, and have that kind of curiosity that would guide you into growing into a marketing professional.
This is very insightful and packed with a lot of information. So allow me just to try to break it down. So first was the discussion about the I-shaped marketeer versus the T-shaped marketeer. And basically your point is, it's not just you are going to adopt one forever. It's just moving from two phases, a phase of pure focus to a phase from maybe expanding. Then you focus, then you expand, then you focus, then you expand. And I guess this is true because even when you think about performance marketing as a skill, for someone to say that I am a performance marketer, it's consistent of very complicated skills. So first you need to understand, to need to know how you can create Google ads or Facebook ads or both of them. Then you need to know a lot about data analysis. You need to know a lot about how to create an ad that grab attention. And here comes all the marketing knowledge or the advertising knowledge on how to create a compelling ad that can sell or tell a story. And then you need to know about what happens after a click, like how the tracking ecosystem work, the pixel, the technology, the MMP, all of that. So it's very complicated to be a performance marketer by itself. But once you get there, you need to focus on it for quite some time. Then you try to expand to a new thing that you maybe have the curiosity, and you just follow it through. And I guess one of the things that can always balance the seek of progression in your career is always to try to have a mission that is higher than your current state. So let me explain. So think about it like this. what I'm getting from you that your mission is more about solving problems, solving business problems, regardless of the business, regardless of the situation. You are the kind of person that you need to have a very complicated problems, and you need to fix it. As simple as this.
And if I may add, if you don't have a problem, something is wrong. If your business doesn't have a problem or something is not highlighted as a problem and everyone is looked at as they are doing an extremely good job, then there's something wrong there.
Yeah, 100%. But mainly like while you are in your like, if you have a plan or if you have a goal to reach, let's say, for example, the goal of to be a CMO or to be a senior leader.
Let's not say CMO. CMO is going to be dead anyway as a role, but yeah.
Like any senior
You're going to be
title,
an executive. Yeah.
And you have this in your mind. You need to have a mission that can keep you grounded, because this journey is a very tough journey. It will require you to go a lot out of your comfort zone to try to get more skills or to try to get more knowledge or to try something new. And guess what? When you try to do something new, you're going to fail massively. And if you really build this kind of specialization on one skill, you will be by time you will forget the sense of losing. Like for example, if you are a performance marketer for the last 3 or 5 years, by now you already get used to all the trades or all the hidden things. You don't do mistakes. But when you try to do something additional, hey, you start doing mistakes. And guess what? This is not new, but like this feeling, you forget about it because you haven't felt it for quite some time. So it's challenging. So this is why it is important to have a grounding mission that ground your hustle or ground your journey in a way. Okay, now I want to shed some light into your MBA journey. Okay, you spent 2 years. And I guess before you go through this journey, you had an opinion that, okay, I'm not going to do an MBA, it's just a waste of money and waste of time. This change, you went through the MBA, and now you come, I guess, with a different perspective. Was it worth it? For anyone who's listening, should they put having an MBA as a milestone that they need to achieve?
For me, it was. And that was a realization as well. And in order for anyone who's listening to get to that point of realization, ask yourself, why are you doing an MBA to begin with? Because for a lot of people, they are doing it for like the academic content or the the academic experience.
For the aura, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's also the case for some people. But I mean, if it's for the academic part of things or like just the academic experience, I wouldn't say so, to be quite honest. Because by the end of the day, like, you don't really need an MBA to learn, how to read an income statement or a financial statement of a company. There are a ton of content out there to understand and learn how to do this. Same goes for marketing. I mean, I was already, a professional marketeer. But again, like looking at the marketing academic curriculum or like the content that I learned, I mean, yeah, it was kind of useful, but at the same time, it wasn't really for the academic aspect of the MBA. For me, it was more on the networking. It was more on knowing who I am, actually. It wasn't just about doing some assignments and having some fun with my colleagues and my cohort after every session. It was actually a journey that in a way made me appreciate what I do on a daily basis, made me get some clarity in my future path as well. So yeah, I mean, if you're really keen in going through such a journey, I would recommend doing an MBA. But just be mindful of your time. Just be mindful of the setup of such an MBA. I did an executive MBA, which is supposedly easy. You don't have to quit your job.
Not financially.
Of course. Yeah. You don't have to quit your job. You only go to campus for a week every month. But man, it was crazy. Just like the constant run from work, school, work. I mean, it depends. It depends on asking yourself, why do you want to do an MBA? If you want to do an MBA just for the academic content or the academic experience, I would say save your money, save your time. Get into Coursera, get into Udemy, get into any kind of like an online learning experience, and that should be sufficient. There are tons of content out there. If you want to do it for the network, if you want to do it for the journey that comes with doing an MBA, because from my own experience, I learned a lot about myself actually. I didn't learn a lot of academic content or like business content. I mean, I did, but I
It's not the
learned,
main one.
yeah, I learned much more about myself and what I do. I mean, I have a huge appreciation of what I do and huge appreciation of what I respect of what I do on a daily basis just because of the MBA experience. Just be mindful if you decide to go and do an MBA of the time, the effort, the investment that it actually requires. Also the setup, whether you're gonna do a full-time or a part-time MBA, it's a huge deciding factor. The fact that it's a life-changing experience, no matter what. Just be mindful of the time and effort that it requires to embark on such a journey.
Yeah, cool.
And I would say also, last thing, go big. When it comes to doing an MBA, you're investing in yourself anyway. You're gonna do a program for at least 18 months, 2 years on average. So if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna put such a time commitment, also do the same when it comes to like the school that you choose. So pay attention to rankings, pay attention to alumni networks, attend a lot of the events from different schools, see where you belong, because it's kind of opting to join a family. And yeah, some families probably you're not gonna like, some families you will. So just pay attention to the school selection as well.
Yeah, very good. And listen, like the hour passed so quickly. I need to have another session with you, talking more specifically about the technicality of PMAX. Does it work for lead generation?
Okay,
Yeah,
that's a nice sneak peek.
Yeah, so thank you for coming today.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
for discussing
Thank you,
today.
Ahmed.
And yeah, let's meet for a new
Of
one.
course, I would love to join you again.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Bye.
Reach for growth, reach for